You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
ECU, Pirate Nation, Purple and Gold family, stand to your feet, put your crossbones up, and lean side to side, yeah, and lean side to side, yeah, and lean side to side, come on, yeah. Welcome to the island, man, it's crazy in here. A whole sea of purple and gold waving in here. Keep a plank for the shark tank, traders beware, because we got a whole bunch of rowdy sailors in here.
You're watching the Pirate Football Playback on the Sports Objective. Join us every Sunday night on our YouTube channel and Facebook Live as we talk East Carolina football. Now, here are the guys.
Of the game.
Welcome to the Pirate Football Playback right here on the Sports Objective, and it's presented by L&K Custom Homes. I want to give a shout out to KK Walker. Thank you, sir. Second year in a row that he believes in us, and he's one of the best athletes ever to put on the purple and gold for East Carolina. And, of course, he's a licensed general contractor. Give KK a call, 336-688-8461. And if you haven't seen his work on Facebook, man, oh, man, Kyle, I'll tell you one thing. If I ever win the lottery, I'm going to call him and get the upgrades I want to my house, all the stuff I want to do. And I'm going to call Kev and tell him, hey, man, I won the Powerball last night or Mega Millions, or I have a rich relative I don't know about yet to be named later. And certainly do that. L&K Custom Homes, the title sponsor of our show for the Pirate Football Playback. And guys, disappointing. We're hurting. Certainly it was Heartbreak Hotel last night, but I checked out this morning and I'm ready for ODU. Let's go. Let's wash, like Mark Callaway said, wash hands. Let's wash our hands of the game. Pirates go down 21-20, extra point and a field goal and a block punt. Special teams, not great yesterday, but overall, guys, we'll start with Kyle from LaGrange Barber. Dude, how are you?
Well, I am what I am. Proud of the football team, what they played yesterday. Defense, a lot of people discussing on the internet. Is this the best Pirate defense of the 2000s? Best defense of the last 2 decades? Time will tell that. I do think it's going to be our best defense since 2009 for sure, unless something drastically changes. Offense yesterday against that's another thing. People really talk about the defense performance, which they should, but that NC State defense was very highly touted. So our offensive performance was actually better than people give it credit for. And, we couldn't get a consistent run game going against them, but we hit some big runs. That won't be a problem, as the season goes on. We're not gonna play too many fronts as good as NC State's. We were the better football team yesterday. We didn't get it done to special teams. You mentioned the block punt, obviously the extra point miss and the field goal miss. Very heartbreaking, very sad. I was very emotional after the game. I'm sure Owen feels like crap. My advice to Owen Dapper this week, I think more people are being supportive, at least on the internet, than what I thought was going to be, so that's good. My fear is maybe some of the students, you got some maturity issues. My advice to Owen Dapper, not that he wants my advice, or maybe he's listening, maybe somebody get it to him. Owen, when you're not in class this week and you're walking around on campus and you're not around your teammates, put headphones in. Put your headphones in your ear in between class. Stay focused. Have confidence in yourself. Believe in yourself. You've done it before. The reason, and Houston pointed this out, the reason we all thought he was going to make that second kick is because we saw him doing it against Navy. Had he not done it against Navy, nobody would have thought he would have made that kick.
Right.
So we knew he could do it, and chances are before this year's over, we're going to need him to make some big kicks again. So keep your head up and stay focused. Don't listen to the noise. Very proud of the football team. And look, Old Dominion's coming to town, and we'll break that down more later in the week. But they just beat Virginia Tech. Line came out today. We're between a 12 and a 13-point favorite. We got something to prove with the Monarchs coming in this week, and that's the best thing to do. It's the only way to get over this loss is to go beat ODU. And I think we need to look at this game. And I know I'm really jumping ahead, but I think we need to look at this game like a conference game.
Yes,
to me, Old Dominion is a obviously they beat Virginia Tech. They're a good team. They went to a bowl last year. I believe it was 10 starters back on offense, 7 back on defense. They got some quality depth at quarterback. So it's going to be a tough challenge. So need to get ready and get a quality win this weekend and get to 1-1 on the season.
What's up, Bubba? Rosenbaum, all the way from China Grove. You do an awesome job, dude. I appreciate you so much behind the scenes. And Bubba, one of the things I wanted to mention to you, because I know you were both a quarterback and a punter, not talking about the Larson situation, but you know, when you look at, by the way, to the fans that thank you for the fans being so supportive, what I've seen on social media to Owen Daffer. But keep in mind, folks, if Owen Daffer doesn't make that 54-yarder, maybe we win or don't, but he's the reason why we have a winning season last year. So we would have gone to a bowl still, but certainly he played a big part in that. And Bubba, to me, I think that the mistakes made yesterday, Kyle and I know we're talking in the green room, but I really believe that what the mistakes made yesterday can be fixed, other than the mental aspect of the being a place kicker with Daffer.
Of course, I mean everything that went wrong yesterday is fixable. I mean, as soon as that block punt happened, you know, and it was very apparent to me that punt was going to get blocked. You can see it coming from a mile away there. I was sitting on the 20-yard line, you know, toward the boneyard on the tailgate tower south side of the stadium, and yeah, you could see it had disaster written all over it. And Coach Houston immediately went to Luke, and he reiterated that in the post game as far as Luke has to get that off, and he knows that. And then you know, the interceptions there in the first half. You know, one of those in the very first one in the first couple minutes on the initial drive, that was just the ball probably shouldn't have even been thrown. It was an underthrow. And then the other one, we had Zay Winstead wide open on a dig route, and we just made a high throw. And Holton, as you would expect him to do, showed tremendous leadership, and other than a few throws, had a solid day and led us back and gave us a chance to win the football game. 25 out of 41, 2 touchdowns, including the one about 5 minutes in to C.J. Johnson. I know we'll talk more about that, how good C.J. looked in the slot, had a heck of a day, and that man was that great to see. And then to Zay Winstead and Jalen Johnson's credit, after having some drops and not being very sharp in the first half, they really came on in the second half, especially Zay, and gave us a chance to win the game. And then you talk about Kevin Walker and the way he played back in the early 80s in the secondary. I know he had to be fired up with that play that he was seeing from Malik Fleming, DeMel Hickman, Tegan Wilk had 9 tackles. And I mean, Gerard Stringer absolutely laying the wood to people, led the team with 11 tackles, had that forced fumble. And down there at the goal line, the first of 2 goal line stands, and we'll have some tremendous footage later on, compliments of John Smith and 7 City Shop Talk No Quarter of that second goal line stand, where we stopped the pack at the 1-yard line or inside the 1.
And Bubba, you cut out there at the end. I guess you were finished with your thought, but yeah, you mentioned a few things about the receivers, about Winstead and Jalen Johnson. Kind of made me think of a couple of things I will point out that I think we need to do a better job of. We got to get the ball in Justin Jones' hands more. He did not have enough touches yesterday. The other thing is, I'd like to see us utilize Keaton Mitchell way more in the passing game.
Yep.
He is so fast. You get him in space. He's shown it. You know, he showed it there on that last drive.
Like a 36-yard.
Yes, you just get him the ball
Like a
and
yard and taking it to the house like he did against App State last year.
Exactly. So we got to get the ball to him more. And then and Justin Jones is maybe the best athlete on the team. I think he had 2-3 receptions yesterday. So you got to get the ball in his hands more. That's you've got to. Those are 2 guys that you need to. You hate to put a certain amount of touches on the player because you never know what the game is going to dictate. But both those players need to touch the ball way more than they did yesterday. I'll just say that.
Yeah, the play very quickly, Dave, that that Kyle's talking about, where we got the ball to Keaton Mitchell for 35 yards or so. He was lined up in the backfield, and we got a mismatch with the linebacker. It was actually reminding me of a play way back in '96 against NC State, where we put Steve Logan put Mitchell Galloway, who was blazing fast, in the backfield, lined up to Danny Gonzalez's left, and got a mismatch on an NC State linebacker then, and very similar play.
Yeah, and to me, you're right. Design things to design mismatches. You put him up in a situation for a little swing pass against the linebacker. It's going to be a mismatch. And he's got the speed. The one thing, my one knock on Keaton that I've noticed is he's got a lot of speed and he's got power too for his speed. I wish he could cut like Terrence Lord have mercy, Voltavious Cooper. Voltavious Cooper was one of the best cutting running backs I've ever seen in my life. I don't know if you can coach cutting, but if he could get that ability to cut on a dime with that speed, he'd be unstoppable. But yeah, got to pass the ball to him more. Don't just utilize him in the running game. Utilize him in the passing game more. And Justin Jones, Bubba, how many receptions did he have yesterday? Just 3? Was it 3 or 4?
Honey, you said Justin. I'm Jalen Jones.
Tight end.
Sorry, Ryan Jones.
Ryan Jones.
Yes, I believe.
Who the hell is Justin Jones? I mean, did I just make that up?
No. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Justin Jones, tight end from that had
the Tulsa tight end. Called the winning touchdown against Tulsa. Ryan Jones is who I mean. Let's rewind that. Every time I said Justin Jones earlier, I meant Ryan Jones.
But yes, Ryan Jones had 4 catches for 22 yards.
That's and maybe it was matchups. Maybe they did a good job taking him away, but yeah, that number's got to go up.
No doubt. I tell you what, guys. To me, I felt really bad for the team, but I was going to say, when you look at where this team, there's no moral victories. When you look where this team was when Scotty Moe was fired, I called Kyle that day when I got the press release, and Kyle was laughing really hard because he was in shock. And I think it was a nervous laughter. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, that's what it was.
You lose like 2 days later, 58-3, and you have a wonderful coach in Raleigh. I say that sarcastically, who calls a timeout to ice a kicker. Yesterday, we understand why he tried to ice the kicker. But anyway, when you look at that team, where we were when Houston took over the program to now, we actually have now, I think people that used to say I was blindly optimistic, they see that this team actually has a chance to compete for a championship, where before we would like to say that would happen, but we knew realistically that we were not even in the mix, in the hunt for it. So that's what I'm happy about, is to see that. I think that, people may think there's going to be a letdown for NC State, a loss, that tight loss. I think it's the exact opposite. I think that Old Dominion better be ready for a butt whipping. I really believe if they play with the same intensity they played with yesterday, then it's going to be a good day for the Pirates.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's potential for a letdown, but I think and I said it before the podcast, lots of times you're in an echo chamber as a football program. It's a good thing. But I think there's a lot of positive right now. I think the fans are being positive. I think more people overall are positive about what happened yesterday, except the result of the game, than the negative. Most people see what this team has and what this team can be. And, I think Old Dominion's going to come in here with an emotional win over Virginia Tech, and they're going to probably see that spread and feel a little disrespected being a 13-point underdog. But we got something to prove. And we have an opportunity to, this Old Dominion team is going to be a bowl team most likely in the Sun Belt and just beat the Hokies. So this win isn't just another win if we get it Saturday. To me, we can make a statement with this game that we are for real. And to me, if you cover this spread, I'm just happy with a 1-point win and move on. But if we can cover this spread, I think it will make a statement.
Going back to the passing game, we talked about how Zay Winstead and CJ had solid days, and Zay Winstead in particular really came on in the second half, and after having some drops in the first half as well. Jalen Johnson had a nice catch or two, a critical third down when we were backed up there, and Holton found him over the middle, but CJ finished with 6 catches for 90 yards and, of course, a touchdown. I believe it was a 38-yarder there 5 minutes in. And then you also had Zay with 6 for 58. And on the touchdown drive where we ended up play action passing to Shane Calhoun on third down, I was glad to see us to do that instead of, mix it up a little bit instead of just running the football there in a short yardage situation at the goal line. That was refreshing to see, and he was wide open in the right corner. And on that drive, Holton found Zay Winstead at least once, if not a couple times, on back shoulder throws, it seemed like.
Yeah, it was a very good call on the call you're talking about on third down. I believe it was third down. It was third or second down.
It was third down.
The pass to Calhoun, very good play call, very well executed. Calhoun wide open, and sometimes that's the worst thing you can have is a wide open receiver, or in this case tight end. But Card, what is wrong with me? Whew, Ayler's got it right to him. So good job not missing the wide open man, because sometimes that's the worst thing you can have, somebody that wide open.
No doubt about it. In fact, I tell you what, I was really proud of the team. I thought that overall the defense was incredible. And I said that, if you remember listening to the preview, I said nobody's talking about the defense of the Pirates against the offense of – and it did come down to that. It did come to that because their offense – I mean, their defense was going to be good, but we knew that our offense was good too. But how was that defense going to handle it? And guys – they only gave up 14 points. You can't count that block punt for a touchdown of special teams. They only gave up 14 points. The number 13 team.
Shut them out in the second half.
Yeah, shut them out in the second half. So what are we going, like, literally, guys, like, are the people, we got to move on. And Old Dominion's on the clock. I know that Mike Houston's already told those guys that. Let's go out there and blow – I mean, I'm not disrespecting Old Dominion, and Kyle and I were talking about that Friday before the NC State game, that Old Dominion is a good team. We were curious to see what was going to happen with that game Friday night. They beat Virginia Tech. We should have beat State. We didn't. But I think we've got a lot to be proud about, and I don't think this is a typical I know Bubba and I have talked about before the X plays, those explosion plays that would drive us nuts. That wasn't there in the past with our defense. It was there even in the early on in the Houston era, a couple of plays, and it would be big time plays that we just couldn't give up. And Bubba, we didn't do that.
I think the longest play we gave up yesterday was 24 yards. I think State had maybe 2 plays of 24 yards because I was curious. I had heard someone, I can't recall who it was, but a member of the local media or maybe a former member of the local media say something about explosion plays. But yeah, you had the run there when we ended up stopping them on 4th and goal at the 1 yard line, or inside the one, actually about the 1 foot line. They had that 23 or 24 yard run. And then you had the 24 yard pass to Thayer Thomas on the 3rd and 16, which was a killer because that was, they scored on the very next play to Thayer Thomas on a pass over the middle. So, defensively, we talked about that pre-show before we went live, guys. 4 out of 13. If you'd have told us that going into the game, that, hey, the Pirates are going to hold NC State to 4 out of 13 on third down, 14 points, because obviously 7 came on the block punt. And then after halftime, they had just 121 yards and just 25 yards in the fourth quarter. You'd have taken that all day long. The only negative, 2 of those 4 third down conversions were on third and very long, 3rd and 14 and 3rd and 16. And one of those led to a touchdown for the Pack. But all in all, a tremendous day for the Pirate defense. And like I've told multiple people, I was talking to some folks, and Kyle included, on the way home yesterday, and just our ability to get stops when we need to, and just feeling confident even after we missed the PAT. Hey, we got plenty of time to get a stop. We had 2 timeouts. We're gonna get the ball back and come down the field and have the opportunity to win it, which we did.
We're going to get our questions and comments in just a second. But, guys, another point I wanted to make before we go to the questions and comments is, Kyle, I think you and I talked about it before the show, but this team is continuing what Mike Houston has put in them, that to never quit. My God, that would have been a blowout after that block punt yesterday. If that were Mo pre Mike Houston, it would be game over.
A lot of teams. When you give up a big third down conversion followed up by a touchdown, and then your offensive drive stalls and you punt it, and you get a block punt, and that's a 14-point swing. I mean, they scored 14 of their 21 points all back to back. I mean, normally that's it. Normally you give up 14 points that fast to a top 25 team, your team folds. We never flinched. Flinched.
Yeah, like you're saying, Kyle, it came in 65 or 70 seconds.
Yeah. Think about that.
Yeah, we never flinched, and if you keep that kind of attitude all year and you play with that intensity all year, good things are going to happen. I mean, I really, I look at this football team and I think the ceiling is very high. I don't think that we are a 6-6, 7-5 team. Who knows? It may play out that way. But I really believe this team has a very high ceiling to compete for a conference championship in the American this year.
And another thing, hey, Bubba, I want to mention, I know that you credit you because you're the stats guy, the numbers guy. How about the fact that our offensive line did not give out a sack, not a sack the whole day?
Yeah, did not surrender a sack, and that was something that was a real struggle a season ago. I don't recall the exact number. We allowed over 30 sacks, maybe 35 or 40, but it was that was a real struggle a season ago, and that was something that Coach Shank, when we had him on the show, as well as other interviews he did, said that was a major point of emphasis in the offseason, and that he said that was it wasn't all the offensive line. Some of it was on Holton. Some of it may have been on receivers. Running backs, missing blocks. I mean, it was a combination of everything. And, we figured it out yesterday against defense is probably as good or, better than any that will play all season long. We shall see. But, NC State's front in particular, but really the entire defense is, very, very good. And one of the things that made that even more impressive, in my opinion, is, you knew we were going to be throwing the football the majority of the time. You had 41 pass attempts, just official pass attempts. I think Holton had 5 rushes. You had at least 2 or 3 of those that were designed. So you had roughly just shy of 45 pass attempts, and I think Keaton and Rajay carried it a combined 22 times. So essentially 65+% of the time we were throwing the football, and we were still able to protect like that without much of a running game. We ran, obviously it's great, those 50 or 60 yards that Holton was able to pick up, but with the running backs, we ran for 66 yards, I think it was.
Yeah, I thought we probably should have. Keaton is, in those kind of situations, I guess a really good defensive line, front seven in general. Keaton's a small back. He's a speed back. He's going to hit you an explosion play, and he hit a couple, but he's not good for picking up 3 or 4 yards. I actually thought we probably should have tried to feed Rajay a little more yesterday. Rajay Harris, to me, is a guy that, as a term I've always liked to use, Rajay is a guy you got to get lathered up. To me, Rajay gets better the more carries he gets.
Yep.
If you get Rajay lathered up, and I think yesterday would have been a good time to do it. Late in the game yesterday, when all he had to do was pick up a first down, he got it in the end zone to what would have been tying it up had we got the PAT. I think Rajay yesterday, to me, was a little bit underutilized too. I think yesterday, if I look back at the offense, that would be my biggest criticism, is underutilizing people. Like I said, I don't think we utilized Jones properly. I don't think we utilized Keaton Mitchell in the passing game properly. and I think Rossi should have got more carries.
No doubt about it. But hey, I tell you, overall, I love stuff behind the scenes. Thank you, Bubba, for making me laugh there. Let's go to the questions and comments. Bubba, I don't know where you want to start, but one of the hot topics certainly yesterday we can talk about something that I tell you, here's what I will tell you. The football team, I will say this, was well prepared to play that game. Our concession stands, concession staff, as far as a lot of that is volunteers for local organizations. But I will say this, they were not prepared. I heard so many people, and that's what it's funny. That this is what I will tell you guys when I see those comments. You know what that lets me know? The football team is going to be very good this year when you're worried about the concession stand.
51,000. They said it was a record-setting crowd, over 51,000 there yesterday.
Yeah.
I think we have staffing issues all over. It's we were in Ruby Tuesday night for dinner. They had the bartender waiting tables and one other server. There's staffing issues all over the place right now. How bad was it, guys? I wasn't there. Obviously, you guys know why. I've talked about it on the show.
It's very bad because what happened was the POS system went down, so you couldn't use your debit card. It was cash only.
No.
They had
there is debit machines there, if I remember right.
Yeah. The problem is, guys, here's the deal. Let me just tell this to our people in administration, because we're telling you everything you do right, but we're also going to give you some we're going to be objective. That's the name of the show. The reality is, look, when you have a damn game that's at noon, I hate those noon games. Dave, it's television. I know it's television. Get your damn water. Have a whole bunch of water stations. If you have people that you have to give water to, there were people that were dehydrated. They had to take people out of the stadium yesterday again because it's 89 degrees for a football game in Greenville, North Carolina on Labor Day. We understand why you have to have the game at noon, but you need to prepare yourself that have a whole bunch of water stations where people can buy water. The other thing that I would say to them is, I told Ryan Robinson on the show, I saw at the Charlotte Football Club at Bank of America Stadium, give the souvenir cup, have stations. This is what's the problem with East Carolina with concessions is we're doing it the same way that when I went there when I was 13 years old, the FCA day with Art Baker in 1986. We're doing the same exact thing that we did in 1986. Then it's 2022. What we need to do is to my constructive criticism, go to pro stadiums. Have fan-friendly pricing. They've been working on that. They've done a better job with that. They need to have more options. They've done a little bit of that. But as far as the same way we've done it, same old, we've got to be in the year 2022.
I like your cup idea. I know Disney, you can do that too. You buy a cup, and maybe you charge $12, $15.
They charge $8.99 in Charlotte. And
you know what? Let's say we even charge $12.
Okay.
But then we have fountain stations set up with soda, and lemonade, tea, etc., all throughout the stadium. Have about 4 or 5 of them set out throughout the stadium, and you make sure they're stocked with the mixes and the CO2 water and all that crap. And you pay for your cup. And you go get your drink, you fill it up as you want, and really, they'd sell a ton of them. They'd probably make more money because the overhead for those fountain drink machines is not very high.
Exactly, that's where the profits are.
And it's faster for the fans. Less people you have to have working.
Yep.
So you just make sure you get people there to maintain those machines. I like that idea a lot. And
you have the Minji's family right down the road. Yeah. And Pepsi's our sponsor. Have a whole bunch of Minji's folks there. I know they're probably at the game anyway because they're one of our sponsors. So, I mean, they gave a lot of money to be the primary soda, I love Pace's thing right there. We'll give props to UNC. They have water monsters where you can fill up your bottle or cup for free. Hey, that's what I'm talking about, Pace. Exactly. It's 89 degrees. Look at that humidity. It looks really bad when you can't sell water because you don't have a debit card. We need to make sure if we had to, just pass out I mean,
you can't. Okay, my second question: is there a debit machine on hand? Is there an ATM machine?
I don't. Is there, Bubba? I haven't seen one.
Well, I didn't go to the concession stand yesterday, but I know last
Bubba,
year
did you bring water in with you, or do you have somebody get it for you?
I took one in.
Okay, so you were allowed to bring one in.
Well, I had mine in my back pocket, so, but I
And the
didn't.
other one was given a peace sign.
Okay, Elliot says, at least the one he went to, he said no debit machine. But
Okay, if there's no ATM machine anywhere, first of all, we need to check that because Town Bank Tower should have ATM machines in the stadium.
Everywhere.
So we need to we need to somebody let us know. I can't believe none of us know if there's ATM machines in that stadium. But
I've never seen one. I said
that needs to be
about an ATM machine. I thought you were just talking about being able to pay with your debit card at the concession stand.
We normally can. It was broken yesterday. That's what we're talking about.
Sorry, I had to step away for a moment.
Is there a ATM machine in the stadium, Bubba? Do you know?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, that needs to be addressed. Town Bank Tower, Town Bank should have an ATM machine, a couple of them in the stadium. So if this happens again, where the debit, first of all, I don't know. All right, now I won't there, but all right. So so at one point the whole damn system was down, and you couldn't use a debit card anywhere in the stadium.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, well you can get these little things that you put on a damn cell phone. What are they called, Dave? Help me out here.
For Venmo or
a card reader. They have a name though, but we say a card reader. I mean, can we not have those as a backup where somebody can just slide them into their cell phones? I mean,
yeah, that's how. Every time I go get my haircut, that's what the lady uses.
Yeah, I mean, I know a 22-year-old handyman that does work to my house that has one of those. For Christ in heaven's sake, I mean, when the local handyman can have one of those, why can't we have those as backup or at least a damn ATM machine? And if there is an ATM machine and we haven't realized it, then I apologize. Somebody can correct us.
Yeah. And, Pays makes they lost Wi-Fi in the stadium. I forgot to tell you guys that before the show. Look,
okay.
we need to make here's the thing. We need to make an investment. If we're paying a lot of money for these tickets, yesterday's tickets for NC State, rightfully so.
Well, you can, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you this. They want me to cut you off, but it's Sunday and tomorrow's Labor Day. Tuesday, you're going to see a lot probably coming out negative about the fan experience at the game. If people weren't able to get water, because I wouldn't have carried any cash on me. I wouldn't have had any cash on me. I would have every now and then. Jessica will have a $20 bill in her wallet that I just don't know about. But half the time I don't carry cash. And
I had $23 cash, and that's for my daughter. One of my things my daughter loves. Which
let me tell you something. If I couldn't, I'm sorry to cut you off again, Dave, but I'd have stole a damn bottle. I'd have went up to the water. I'd have done something. If I couldn't get a bottle of water yesterday, if I had went to that game, if I couldn't get a bottle of water or Gatorade, somebody would have been taking an ass whipping because that's ridiculous. I'd have, oh boy.
Hey, well, guys, take it back 20 years. East Carolina was playing down at Clemson in the baseball regionals. All right, so we were there at Doug Kingsmore Stadium, and it was a lovely, blistering hot day with a heat index of 110. So they ran out of bottled water at the concession stand, or they may not have run out of the bottled water at concession stands, but it was so hot they weren't even gonna. If people wanted to go buy a bottle of water, they could, or they had, their Gatorade coolers like they would have in the dugout for the teams. They had one of those, or several of those around the back of the stadium, where you could go get your Gatorade cup and refill that cup of water as many times as you would like, because it was so dangerously hot.
Yeah, and there is water fountains in front of the bathrooms, so you could get water that way if you had something to put it in. I hope. I don't know. You got to think outside the box at that point. I hope they were at least giving people cups so they could get water from the water fountain. Dave, do you know if they were at least doing that?
I hadn't heard that part, and I've got another issue to discuss too. And Shell, we are going to talk about the positive stuff. I promise. Okay.
Oh, we talked about it earlier. You should have been here at the beginning.
No, it's a different topic, Kyle.
No, it's a different topic. No, it's a different topic.
Oh,
the other topic. Okay, let me say this, Shell. Like I said, give me a second. The other topic that I heard over and over again, we had a record crowd, not overall, but for students, 13,000. I give the students a hard time. Hey, let me give you a record crowd for students in the Boneyard, 13,000. And guess what? When they went down to get the water, which there was a terrible line, people won't let them back up.
Now explain that.
Because they said the card reader that they would use for the scan, I guess, Bubba, help me on would that be the student ID?
Well, it used to be the ECU1 card. Do they still use that?
I can't remember the name of it. It may be, I don't know the name of it.
I'm going back here 20 years at this point.
That wasn't working. I think what happened here, and here's what I heard. Here's what I heard from my parents, and I don't know. They had trouble with their internet, and I don't know if that's a suddenly now optimum, but let me tell you something. If that's the reason what happened, if the internet must have gone down, because that would explain why the card reader wouldn't work. That would explain why.
So they just wouldn't let them back up. They couldn't just show them the damn card.
All you had to do is just go back up. Yes, please let those. We have those rowdy students, and we haven't.
Well, to me, this is how you handle. To me, this is how you handle that. When you run into an idiot security guard who, I'm sorry, but I've dealt with this in the past. People get a little bit of power and they love it, and they're told exactly what to do, and they don't have enough sense to think outside the box. So when you're dealing with an idiot, don't deal with an idiot. Don't talk to. I've often told my wife this when dealing with stuff at school. Don't talk to the horse's ass. Talk to the horse's mouth. So when you're dealing with when you're dealing with an idiot, don't deal with them immediately. Say I want to speak to your supervisor. Say I want somebody down here from the athletic department. Ask for damn John Gilbert. Demand John Gilbert until they get you Ryan Robinson. Demand Ryan Robinson until they get you. Don't sit there and deal with an idiot security guard and argue with them. Get somebody above them. There's always don't get. Look, let me tell you something. I'll tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I always sit in the handicap area, north side on the seating ramp because of my vision. So I go in the gate at field level. This moron, this several years ago, wasn't going to let me. You can't come on the field. I was like, trying to get in my seat, brother. I was early in the stadium. He said, well, you don't get your seats this way. I said, right on the handicap ramp, my friend. He said, well, you can't get on there through the field. I said, dumbass, explain to me how you get from here to there without walking through this gate. And I said, get your supervisor. And that was the end of that. I mean, so people that have those jobs, I'm not saying all of them, and half the time it's not their fault because they weren't properly trained to do their job and told everything. But if the student has their ID card, whether it'll scan or not, if it won't scan, it's not their fault. Show the card, let them back into their seat. Right. They're in the stadium. If they're in the effing stadium, they obviously have a ticket. They didn't get into the stadium without a ticket.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that here we are. Go ahead, Bubba.
So along those lines, I came in the gate. I believe it's gate 4. It's the one right there by the Pirate statue, Murphy Center and Ward.
That's 2.
Okay, gate 2. I was sitting in section 4B, but I came in gate 2, and they did not. They were not. I just showed him my printed ticket. They were not even scanning it. He just looked at it, said, "Come on in."
Well, there you go. See, there's a wonderful security guard who has sense, who knows how to do his job. And like I said, it's not all of them. It's just certain people. Right. It's one of two things: they're poorly trained, they can't think outside the box, or they get a little bit of power. I remember there was a basketball. I don't know if she's still there or not, but I remember for years, Bubba, Dave, you may remember this. Dave, you might. There used to be a female security guard at the basketball games. They called the seat Nazi. like the soup
Maybe
Nazi
some-
except the seat Nazi.
Yes.
I know
You
you're
remember
talking-
it, Bubba? Both of you do? Okay. So, I mean,
The lower bowl. Yeah, it was like Fort Knox.
there, and it was like, and even though it's much better to have people sitting lower. If you don't have those people, you'd much rather have that place packed. And I know exactly who you're talking.
no, that kind of stuff to me. I'll tell you another quick little story. I was coming in the main gate one day at East Carolina. This has been since the current administration's been there, and I always take binoculars with me to watch the game. And this dumbass going through the gate told me I couldn't bring binoculars. I said, "What do you mean you can't bring binoculars in?" And they said it's not on our list of approved items. I said, "Well, a lot of things are probably on your car keys probably on your list of approved items. It's just common sense." And so
I remember when you told me this story a few years ago. This may have been the first year of the show.
yes, I said, "Brother, I'm legally blind. My ass is going in here with my binoculars. You ain't stopping me." And that was the end of the conversation. I immediately got up with Ryan Robinson after that, and I've never had that problem again since. So I mean, come on, it's not on the list of approved items. I mean, well, neither's air.
Think about this, guys. We have a record crowd, 51,711. We've been tough on the students because they don't stay, they don't come, whatever. And I know there was some difficult times since the start of our show. But look, the students came out. They were amazing. That boneyard was amazing yesterday. I have no complaints for them. Please do something with that. That's the worst experience for the boneyard since
it's bad.
My only complaint would be to stay for the whole game.
Well, they weren't allowed to, Bubba.
What?
Go back in, Bubba.
Well, no. I know we've been talking about that. I'm just saying that don't leave to begin with. But I'm not disagreeing with you.
Well, for God's sake, they got to go get hydrated.
That's the whole point. They went to get a water. They couldn't get the water. Yeah. They couldn't even get back
if you're leaving at
I'm talking about the ones that legitimately, left. I'm not talking about someone that went out to get a water.
But at this point, do we know how many that was?
Like many other fans that go out at halftime and with the Pirate Club pass.
Yeah. Well, we need to.
Yes,
has this been 100%? Since we're ranting and raving about this, has this been 100% verified that this was a mass problem? And did they ever get it resolved? Did they ever just say, students, you can just go back up? Do we know the answer to that? Anybody watching?
If they can help us out, I don't know that piece of it.
Elliot says no, they did not.
Okay, well then that to me that goes back to nobody asking to speak to the right person and nobody being loud enough. Sometimes you okay, let's see where we go here.
Dave's friend Shell in Charlotte just says the same thing happened at the Charlotte Catholic Providence Day game on Friday night. The system went down. His son attends Charlotte Catholic, and that he volunteers and is one of the ticket scanners, and that we just said go ahead when they showed their e-receipt.
Well, I mean, you're in the stadium. You're in the stadium.
Well, think about what happened at. It happened at was the regional or the super regional. You just said, "Come on in."
Yeah, to me, it should have never happened. That was somebody that was overstepping their little bit of authority. But to me, I promise you, I would have got back up there.
Hey, we have a what we're gonna do. I tell you what, Kyle, this is like a radio show, a stunt. What we're gonna do is Kyle from LaGrange is going to be a student this coming week against ODU.
No. Let's wait
and then what he's going to do is if he doesn't get up there, that's going to be.
That'll be taken to be sure this won't happen again. I mean, that's idiotic. And what
they should have just got all the students that were in this boat together and stormed the gate.
Well, I mean, I just don't. I can't even fathom the stupidity of that. I mean, to me, you got to get somebody down there with some stroke, and you say just let them up. You say just let them up. I mean, that's somebody to me not asking for the right people.
Yeah, and like Elliot's saying, it's something that's been complained about all day
Yeah,
long.
I saw a couple people complaining about it. You that needs to be, that should have never happened, and it should have been addressed. It should have been fixed.
When it goes,
And the problem, look, what you just said right then, what Elliot just said, parents, what? All right, I'm gonna go ahead on a rant here. Oh God, parents complaining about. Look, when I was 19, 20 years old, I didn't need my mom or daddy to complain about a damn thing for me. In fact,
no,
I was more wired up then.
The
I was more wired up then than I am now.
they were at the game with them, Kyle.
They were at the game and couldn't get back in as well.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
then, well, I that's ridiculous. And what you just did was potentially ruin a whole bunch of people from coming back to the game.
Exactly.
You're alienating your fan base. I mean, that is. So what did they do? So what were they told to do? Just go stand and watch it at the gate?
I don't know. That's a good. I haven't heard that piece of like when they were not allowed out. What did they do, or what did they allow them to do? I mean, once you're in and Elliot's saying correct on YouTube. I mean, that's an idiotic. Like if you have that damn card, and this is what's going back to me being 49 years old. We had those student cards. That's what we showed to get our tickets. We got our damn tickets, and we went in there. Look, those students have a reason to bitch, complain. Have you guys ever seen the tuition? Mr. Gilbert, Mr. Robinson. How about Chancellor Rogers? Have you seen how high tuition is now?
Well, somebody
keeps going up.
Somebody did not. Was the administration made aware of it at the time? You know, because to me, you get Gilbert or Robinson or somebody lower down the line down there, and you say, "Hey, just let them up." I don't know. It's not your card. That's your problem. That's a you problem. Your card reader's not working. That's a you problem. I mean, I don't understand that. That's complete idiocy. Just complete and utter.
Elliot and I are the same age, like Pays, and we used to show our IDs and get in there. And
I'd have left in handcuffs.
Hey, as far as going back to the credit card reader thing, like you said, Kyle, you know, if a 22-year-old had one on his phone, I think they're roughly $50, and so I don't know. It's been a well-documented problem as far as getting staff, but it's going back to the credit card issue and just the system being down. I mean, there's so many stadiums now. I know Atrium Health Ballpark here in Kannapolis, minor league ballpark, when the Kannapolis Cannonballers, and it's a cashless ballpark. So, I mean, if you're gonna, I mean, I know Dowdy Ficklin is not a cashless ballpark, or stadium rather, but you know, if you're majority of your customers, you got to be prepared to swipe a card and, you know, have a plan B or do everything you can to prevent that loss of revenue, as well as just, you know, safety.
Like Shell says, we were on ESPN and we got people, that are more worried about a card reader than getting that. Like Shell said, let's put those people in there. And I'll tell you one thing.
Well, to me, what should have happened with this, the students should have just been allowed up. And then to solve the card reader problem, if you don't have cash, you don't have cash. If there's not an ATM machine in the stadium, that needs to be addressed. But I don't know if they did this yesterday, but you got bukus of those plastic cups. Just hand them out and let people put water in them if you can't offer them anything else.
And here's another one that Elliot says. People waited in line for 45 minutes, got to the counter to be told, we are out of water. They didn't have enough water for yesterday.
Well, that's idiotic too. And again, that's a situation to me where you need to be handed a plastic cup, at least at that point.
Yes.
Where you can get water.
And to that point, it says, you know, he's talking about waiting 45 minutes only to find out that what you've been waiting in line for is not available. Then, you know,
put up a sign, no, out of water.
Yeah, or just very quickly, somebody, you know, run and communicate, you know, run outside and, you know, make an announcement. Hey, if you're waiting in line for water, we're out of water, or, you know, we're working on it or whatever. But, you know, don't let people potentially stand in line and be even more pissed off.
Well, I mean, you got something else to drink. I mean, at least,
Right.
yeah. So, I
So
mean,
hey, we're out of water. We have plenty of soft drinks. If you want to wait in line for that, then or whatever. I mean,
I to me, again, you go back to the card reader being down. If there's not an ATM machine, then and if it was the whole internet down, then even if there was an ATM machine, it wouldn't have worked.
Right.
So to me, the only answer is if you don't have cash, just give them a plastic cup and say go to the water fountain.
Well, here's the thing, like Pace said, here's how long, guys, we've known that the game was going to be a noon game for a long time.
Yeah.
It's no excuse. Put water stations all over the place. And instead of, and the thing is, this concession problem has been going on. What it is that here's the deal. This thing has been a wreck because we had the pandemic, and we can make excuses all day long about that we don't have enough staff.
They made an announcement about Minji's being a place to seek shelter and cool off. Well, that's what I want to do when I'm at a football game. I want to go sit in Minji's at the basketball arena to seek shelter and cool off. No, how about you provide proper access to water and things to stay hydrated? I mean, it's nice that they had that open so you could go seek shelter and cool off, but you got to provide access to to adequate. There's no excuse. It's not my problem. It's not my problem if your internet's down. It's not my problem if your card readers are down. That's your problem. I've bought a ticket. In my case, I'm a season ticket holder. I bought 2 season tickets. I spent $600 plus parking passes plus my Pirate Club donation. Bitch, you can give me a cup so I can get some water.
The old call from Grange is packed.
I mean, that's insulting. I didn't go yesterday because I'm having health issues. It's been well documented, but I would have found that so insulting as a season ticket holder, as a Pirate Club member, buy a parking pass, spend all this money, and then I don't have any cash on me, and it's your fault your crap's down, and you won't give. And maybe they did. If they wouldn't if they wouldn't at least give me a plastic cup so I could get water, whoo boy, I tell you what,
Like I said, and WJ O'Connor, thank you, WJ. How about letting folks bring their own water in September?
Yeah. Yes. Well, at Walnut Creek Amphitheater, or whatever the hell it's called now, that place in Raleigh, what has music outside. Crystal, what's it called now?
What is it? Coastal Credit.
To me, it's always going to be Hardy's Walnut Creek Amphitheater.
Exactly.
You can bring in 1 liter of water. You can bring in up to 1 bottle liter of water at every concert. Why don't we do the same thing?
Yeah. I will say this. I'm trying to remember. It may have been Johnny Gardner. There was someone earlier today that I was speaking with, and they were just talking about this issue regarding concessions and bringing in water, and there was someone that brought in a gallon of milk, a gallon of water in a milk jug, and then there was also someone that brought in a couple of liter bottles.
Okay.
This individual, was in the mid 70s, and just said that the whatever gate they came in, they were not stopped for those waters.
So maybe we were allowed to bring in water and we just weren't told.
Perhaps, or at least the event staff at those gates they went to were not strict about it and enforcing it because they knew the situation. But
no, they had the Nazis working in the student section.
Exactly. I guess but whatever the case, at least those individuals that I spoke with, or spoke to someone else and that knew them, they were up 70, 75 years old, and they brought in anywhere from a couple liters to a gallon of water.
Well, Bubba, I'm if that's not announced that that's being done, that you can do that should be announced. I think maybe a gallon's a little absurd, but I think you should be able to bring in a liter bottle of water. I'm a cancer patient, and if I couldn't, what if I went to the game yesterday, didn't have any cash on me, and they told me I couldn't get anything to drink? I'd had to leave. You got somebody like our friend Rachel, who has trouble regulating her temperature because she's paralyzed, And she would have to be able to stay hydrated to that game, or it could be life threatening. I mean, they're not when you're dealing with things like this, and maybe, like I said again, the very least you can do is give out cups. There is water fountains. Well, it's not just a inconvenience when you're dealing with people. Not everybody is healthy as a horse, and let me tell you something: you can be a 21-year-old healthy young man and get dehydrated, and it ain't no fun. And so when you got people with serious health issues, you got elderly people, you've got people that have different disabilities, all there at that game, and then you're denying them access to hydration because your system now, that's your fault. You take care of your paying customers. We spent money. We bought tickets. We bought parking passes, and in many cases, we are booster club members. And you're telling us we can't have a bottle of water? Kiss my ass.
Yeah, Dave. Very quickly, I think you may have been about to bring up what I was going to chime in with. Elliot chimed in with just elaborating more on a topic question that I had in the comment section earlier, and that is, going back to my childhood, when we had so many, and I know we're having staffing issues, but you had vendors walking up and down throughout the stadium.
Yes, I remember that too.
Selling soft drinks, selling bottled water, selling peanuts and everything. Now, I didn't know if it was maybe just because I was so locked into the game, but you don't see that.
No, they haven't done that in
you don't
years,
see it
Bubba.
at all, and maybe it's just because of the staffing issue. But
no, Bubba, that was going on way before. The staffing issues came after COVID. They haven't had anybody in the stands since the early 2000s.
Okay,
like
yeah, because I mean that was something. You had your high school kids, and so I mean earning a few bucks, and and they were definitely earning every penny they got. But that was something that we definitely need to bring back if at all possible. Get some. In fact, my brother-in-law, he's never actually attended a game at the big house. He grew up in Michigan, but he and the church he was a part of, a member at, they went and worked Michigan games and walked up and down the aisles at the big house selling drinks and bottled water. So
yeah, and a lot of our concessions, peoples are ran by volunteer groups from churches, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But as far as walking up and down the stands, I hadn't seen that in years.
Elliot's saying he saw it at the summertime game, James Summers in 2015. In the rain.
The Virginia Tech game in the rain? I sure don't remember that. Of all the games, there's plenty of water there. Maybe they were trying to get people to buy something cold to drink because it was so damn cold that day in the rain.
I don't know. That's the last time. But, hey, Bubba, I'm sorry. I was just going to say that.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that very fact is that you do have people, if they, we got to promote that. We got to promote that. Let's maybe.
Look, you want to solve this problem? I know how to solve it. And it ain't you bitching and it ain't Bubba bitching. It's people like me and Rachel bitching. That's how you solve the problem. Where when it becomes, when you're endangering people's lives, people that are buying money and spending money, and you're endangering their lives by not being able to offer them adequate hydration, that's when you get something done. So it ain't going to be anybody. It ain't going to be parents mad about students. It ain't going to be people in the media. It's going to be people that really do have a legitimate life. Elderly people. Again, I pointed out Rachel. I'll point out myself as a cancer patient. You can't not have adequate hydration for people that's life threatening. And saying you can go over to Minji's, give me a break. I mean, and maybe they were. Nobody's answered this yet. If you didn't have cash, were they at least giving you a cup so you could go to the water fountain? To me, that's a simple solution. That's a simple solution to a complicated problem that's not ideal, but at least you can get something cold to drink and you got something to put it in.
I was talking about the. Let's do what Paige said. As much as we're not Carolina folks, it's a good idea. Hey, the game operations. Look, I was going to make a point. Bubba, we'll get back to and thank you, Paige, for all that you do, brother. I appreciate you very much.
There you go. As much as we love UNC, they're ahead of us on game operations. This goes back to leaders. Bring your ass out of the town bag and do your job. Absolutely. I mean, I bet you the administration didn't have any problem getting concessions. So.
And then Kyle, he went on to say,
Yeah.
Pays that is, he said, per the University of North Carolina website, we want to make sure fans stay hydrated in Kenan Stadium this season. Free water will be available on the concourse at every game via the water monsters at gate 6, 5, 3, 2, and 1. Fans are also allowed to bring in up to 2 20-ounce unopened bottles of water to use and refill to stay hydrated.
Well, there you go. And to me, I know that we are more reliant on concession stand sales than they are. They got more money than we do. They got more revenue than we do. But at the same time, at some point, you got to look after your fans, and that's a good point. And that needs to be, if UNC's doing it, then we need to be doing it. I mean, this needs to be brought to the attention of the administration, and somebody send them this podcast. Tell them to watch it. I don't care if I piss anybody off right now. I really don't care if I piss anybody off. Last thing I'm worried about. It's a good point by Pays. I think we are, like I say, we are more reliant on concession stand sales in Carolina.
How much is the water?
Yeah, not a lot. Not a lot.
Not
compared to beer and hot dogs and such. And to me, it's a safety issue. A beer and a hot dog and a Pepsi Cola is a luxury. Water is a basic human necessity.
Right. Exactly. I mean, growing up, I used to Shell. Do you remember when we were growing up? And Elliot is Pays. We would play ball and we'd be drinking out of a water hose. So we didn't have to pay for water back in the day.
No, to me, and it's a basic human necessity. And like I said, worst case scenario in a situation like that yesterday, and maybe they were. Nobody's told me they were though. But if you didn't have cash, they should have been handing out cups for you to fill up. He
says, and Pay says the water monsters are $1,200 a piece. Are you kidding me? There's so many people in the administration that can pony up that money, and we can get donors to pony up that money. Pepsi, $5. Wow, they were $4. We were talking about with Robinson a couple years ago, Ryan Double R, about the very fact of fan-friendly prices. But
yeah, in 2019, because I know in 2019. There were certain items, like you're saying, it wasn't quite as fan friendly as the fan friendly pricing that some places had, but it was hot dogs and pretzels, peanuts, certain things for like $2.
Yeah, I don't think anything was 2. I remember it being like maybe 3, but
2 or 3.
Let's talk about the hot dogs ran out.
Well, you know what? And you can live without a hot dog. You can't live without water.
No, I know. I'm just saying. You talking about the whole. Here's what it boils down to. Okay, guys. Like I said about 30 minutes ago, and we're going to Shell. I promise you, we're going to talk about the positives of the game and move forward. But I'm going to say one more thing, you guys. You want to do that too? Hey. The bottom line is, thank God Mike Houston and company were prepared for that football game, because if they were prepared for the game like the concession stands, we would have lost 58-3.
Well, it's no excuse for it. Who's in charge of game day operations? That aspect of game day operations. Bottom line, it all comes back to John Gilbert to me. The buck stops at the head. He's the head. Yeah. If you want to go above him, it goes to the chancellor. To the chancellor. So I'll go above John Gilbert to Chancellor
Rogers.
Chancellor Rogers. How do you let this happen, Chancellor Rogers? How do you let this happen, John Gilbert?
Remember the quote from John Gilbert in an interview over the summer. He just said every time that he saw folks waiting in line, and especially in that line not moving very quickly. Or at all, he said that he just cringed because of the fact that you were going to have disappointed customers and lost money.
Then fix it. Fix it. You're giving it lip service, but you ain't fixing it. I mean, and people easier said than no. Well, get your ass out there and work the stand yourself. I mean, that's an extra hand.
Hey, can you see John Gilbert on Undercover Boss?
Hey, you know what? That something like that is not a bad idea.
I'd have loved to see Jeff Compher waiting on Kyle at the concession stand.
Oh man, I'd have made that as difficult order possible.
Hey,
hi, how many waters?
Can I get one? I don't want it cold, but I don't want it hot. Because I want like a room temperature water. You know, I don't.
Yeah, I was thank you, John Gass, for watching. I was thinking about him yesterday. Actually, last night I was looking through the movies and saw Major League 2, and I'll watch it again. I haven't seen it in a long time. And John was in that movie, of course, a great baseball standout under Gary Overton. Speaking of which, got to give a shout out again to Gary Overton, who retired after 45 years. Hey, Coach O, you retired. Can you come back and help us for football games? Can you at least help us with the operations? You're the dude. You're such a great game day guy, and we need to fix that for sure. But anyway, let's talk, guys, let's talk now about, again, moving forward. We'll definitely get back to that, and we'll by the way, we'll reach out to the administration and see if we can find out something on Tuesday. Maybe people can tell us about that. If anybody knows, we'll find out. Guys, moving forward, let's talk about now. We've lost the NC State game. We still have 11 games. Peach Bowl, we went 11-1 that year in the 91 season. And hey, anything's possible. Moving forward, ODU's on the clock. What are you guys' thoughts?
I think a good football team. I've seen some people say, even though they watched the play of Virginia Tech, they're not very good. I strongly disagree. They went to a bowl last year. They got 10 back on offense, I believe, 7 back on defense. I'm talking starters. Their quarterback is not flashy, but he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He makes plays when they have to be made. So they don't beat themselves a lot.
Right.
You got to beat them. We are more talented than them. We have more depth than them. We should be highly motivated. I expect them to be highly motivated too. They're coming off a lot of momentum. I expect this game, I believe if we were in conference play, where these games were scheduled a week or 2 weeks out, this would be a TV game. It would not be an ESPN Plus game. I got to think ESPN regrets probably with the storylines after this game making it an ESPN Plus game now, instead of it being on the U or something. But I think the spread is 12 to 13, depending on where you look. I think it's a little. I find it not to say that we can't win by 13 or more. I think the spread's a little high. With that said, I think we'll win. I think we got a lot to prove in terms of showing last week. Want a fluke against it. First of all, we should be hungry for a win. Second, we need to prove last week won't no fluke, that it won't just because NC State didn't play well. And the only way to do that is go beat Old Dominion, and it does prove something. They just beat Virginia Tech. So if you do cover the spread and you win by 13 or more, people are going to notice that because people are going to look at that ODU win now as a quality win. So I expect us to play well.
I think was. I'm sorry, Bubba. I'll say this real fast. I think West Virginia, Virginia Tech is not that good. Not disrespectful. Let me make it very clear what I'm saying. I think Old Dominion is a good football team.
I don't think their offense is very good. I'm not convinced their defense isn't pretty good. Virginia Tech, I'm speaking of. I came away from watching that game that they didn't have a clue what they were doing on offense. Defensively, I'm not sure Virginia Tech's that bad.
And one thing I want to say, I'm going to do a Bubba right now, Bubba, and then I'll pass it to you, Bubba, is please do me a favor. And I know that Bubba put up there 43 to 45,000. I'm so sick and tired of hearing Pirate Nation talk about, well, as a fan, I really can't get excited about us playing these teams in the American. But, man, when we play those ACC schools.
I guess what the Pirates are playing.
Dave?
What?
What voice is that, Dave?
I don't know. I was just doing one.
You know what? Look, ODU, the fans should be fired up after the win over Virginia Tech. Yep, we should be hungry for a win. And I would imagine they're going to probably bring at least 5,000 down with them.
Yeah, I was impressed. Well, 2013 was the first time we played them, right? Well, off the top of my head.
You're right.
Okay, so 2013, they had a huge in the Belt parking lot. I don't know if you guys remember. I was shocked. I wasn't expecting. They had a huge tailgate that day, alumni tailgate for the fans. There was several thousand people. I'd say in that range, probably Kyle, 3,000 to 5,000.
Yeah, and there will be a lot of business executives from Town Bank there because Town Bank is corporately located in that Norfolk, Virginia Beach area. So that they're very also heavily involved in Old Dominion athletics along with East Carolina athletics. So I would expect there'll be a large group of people from Town Bank there also. But go ahead.
Amen pays. We need to trade ODU for Charlotte. Amen.
Hey, yeah, no kidding. I thought, wait a minute, Pays. I thought you loved that Charlotte market. But when you're losing to Bill and his wife Mary, it ain't too good. No, Old Dominion was clearly the better ad. I knew that the whole time. To me, because they already have an established fan base, there is nothing else in Norfolk. Charlotte has the Panthers, the Hornets, the soccer team. Yeah, oh, they're great. But nobody cares about the Charlotte 49ers. Nobody cares. Whereas ODU, I think now particularly, they got a good coach in old Ricky Ronnie.
Oh, yes.
Ricky Bobby.
I always want to say, Rick, thank you, Bubba.
Yeah.
I always
Ricky
want to
I just said that because Kyle, since he got it wrong the first few times, he just made it a big joke and called him Ricky Bobby, even though he knew it was Ricky Ronnie.
If you're not,
Mr. NASCAR himself, he's building a good program there. Took him to a bowl in really his first year coaching, because his first year was 2020. They didn't play football, they have a nice stadium. They have a fan base. I think they'd be a much better ad than Charlotte.
Just don't ask the Virginia Tech staff about.
Yeah, they got to fix their elevators. Yeah,
their elevators. The coaching staff for Virginia Tech headed back up to the press box after halftime.
Yeah,
got stuck in the elevator, and then I sent you guys something earlier. The Virginia Tech players and staff also had some things stolen from the locker room that the Norfolk or ODU police department are looking into as well, and they said Virginia Tech wouldn't. At that point, was not going to comment further.
Well, you know what? If I remember correctly, Whip Babcock canceled the East Carolina series and replaced it with Old Dominion. So you get what you give, old Babcock. So
they went to Norfolk and got pirated.
That's right, and they got Norfolked. So I. If you speaking of being Norfolk, if you watch their celebration on the field with the fans after the game, they were having a party. Charlotte likes to call their stadium club lit. They didn't have nothing on that crowd in Norfolk Friday night. That was a party on the field. I cracked Bubba up. Bubba like that. So, just compose yourself, Bubba.
I don't know why, given the source, but it just caught me off guard.
Oh my goodness, good stuff. I tell you what, I'm very excited. I love the OD series. In fact, we were there in 2019, and now, and the fact that I know, Kyle, we were talking about maybe they scheduled too much. Speaking of which, two more things before I have left, and one of them is scheduling wise. You guys, I don't know, but why in the world won't I saw this on Twitter today. Our props to, he's at a picnic today. Matt Semenza, and he took on the House Speaker today about ECU and how we need to get our fair share. And good for him, Jim Perry. I think it's Jim Perry. I can't remember his name, but anyway, so. The Speaker of the House, I'll have to come up with a second. But anyway, the
North Carolina Speaker of the House, Jim Perry.
Yeah.
You know what? I've met Jim Perry. Had a conversation with Jim Perry and spoke at a function along with Jim Perry. You guys may not know this, and Jim Perry. Guys, can you hear me? I got a phone call.
Yeah, we hear you now.
Jim Perry was very impressed with my speech. Politicians always say that. So, had I known there was something that needed to be addressed with East Carolina with Jim Perry, I would have had opportunity to do it face to face. But nonetheless, Jim Perry has done some good things. I know he's a Republican, and Dave, that's don't want to get political, but Jim Perry has done some good things. It would be nice to see him do some good things for East Carolina.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the biggest thing for me is just simply this. Boo and Bubba, Are you listening? We need to have NC State and North Carolina play East Carolina. And there's no excuse, Bubba Cunningham, that you can't play East Carolina. You've lost 3 straight, and that's why you won't play East Carolina. If you beat East Carolina 58-3, oh, yeah, Dave, we're going to play you in September. But guess what? You're not going to do it. And all this mess about now the excuse is NC State wanted to play a national schedule, and there's a riot, and oh God, we almost lost to them, and we're the number 13 team in the country, and there's always excuses. Play the damn games. And you know why you play the damn games? I'll tell you why you play the damn games.
Well,
because butts are the seats. That's the best.
Saturday was evident. Saturday, what happened in Greenville, what happened in Boone is why these games should be played. Yep. Neither result went the way I would like them to go, but they were great football games. I think Stephen Igo said it best on Twitter. I don't know if I'm going to get his exact quote right, but he said something to the, he said, you look at East Carolina and NC State, you look at UNC and Appalachian State, and it's why regional games need to be played. College football is the best sport in America when it doesn't try to outsmart them, when we don't try to outsmart ourselves.
Speaking of which, Kyle, I want to get everybody's thoughts on something we haven't talked about. And how about the college football playoff expansion? We got it on Friday.
That's great. That's something that's been really under talked about, and maybe it's because it was week 1 for the group of 5. That's bigger for the group of 5 than anybody. You get the 6 highest conference rated champions now get automatic bids starting most likely in 24. I know technically it's 26, but everybody's saying that's going to get moved up to 24. Yep. Well, guys, there's only 5 Power 5 conferences, so that means there's going to be one group of 5 conference champion every single year that is going to be a part of the playoffs going forward. So you can tell right now, if you're Mike Houston, you can tell the kid, look, if we win the American Conference, we can go to the playoffs. And it's true. It's true. I think the biggest shame of the matter is if they'd have passed this last summer when they originally proposed it, when Houston, UCF, and Cincinnati left, those Mountain West schools, Boise State, Colorado State, Air Force, etc., would have joined the American because they would have seen that we would have been able to combine and form the 6th best conference. But since the playoff wasn't expanded at that point, there was no need for them to come. There was no gain. So we ended up with a bunch of Conference USA schools. I think that's the biggest shame of it, because you could have legitimately formed what would have been considered the 6th best conference. Now it's going to be up in the air each year. You're going to have the conference champion from the American, the Mountain West, or the Sun Belt. One of the 3 is going to make the playoffs every year. You can pretty much rule out Conference USA and the MAC in most years. But it's a big step in the right direction. I mean, 12 teams, the 6 highest rated conference champions get in. All I've ever wanted for East Carolina is a chance. I think NIL has made things unfair. There's always going to be an unfair advantage for those Power 5 schools. And most group of 5 schools, with the exception of SMU and maybe a few others, don't have Power 5 money. So that's still going to be a disadvantage. But this should help recruiting tremendously. It should also in the transfer portal. If you got an East Carolina who, had a pretty good year, but got some holes to fill, and you're like, look, we need this, this, and this, and we can win a conference championship, you can really get some high-rated kids at the transfer portal to come in to try to win you a conference championship and make the playoff one year. So I think for schools that really focus on football, if we can stay out of our own way and not make dumb decisions, because we have a history of doing that, firing Steve Logan, firing Ruffin McNeil. If we can stay out of our own way, not fire anybody, and when Mike Houston leaves eventually, we make the right hire. Schools like East Carolina, schools like SMU, schools like Marshall, Appalachian State, schools like Boise, San Diego State, etc., who put that are a group of 5 but have a large fan base, put a big effort into football. With this college football playoff expansion and legitimate access to the playoff every year, you really can do something now, and I think it's great. And I think it's the biggest thing that's happened to the group of 5 schools since the BCS began, and there's been this system, this pecking order that has been well established. I think this is the biggest equalizer that's happened yet. It doesn't put us on equal playing field, but it's the closest thing we've had, and I'm really surprised it hasn't been talked about more from that aspect. But Bubby, do you have any thoughts on it?
Not really. I was going to actually
Okay.
transition to something that Shell had brought up.
See, there you go. Somebody else who doesn't care about it. I'm just
well,
shocked.
No, he does. It actually relates to what you were saying.
Okay.
no, I care about it. This is just talking about the the importance of football. I mean, in the game day atmosphere, and we've heard it time and again. But just talking about recruiting, and there were several recruits. I'm not going to name anyone specifically, but several recruits on hand yesterday that loved what they saw, were tweeting about it, and thanking the coaching staff for an awesome experience.
They must have got them water.
Talking about how awesome Pirate Nation was, and how they enjoyed being at Dowdy Ficklin. So that was great to see. And not only is it big for football, football game days are such an event. It's awesome for recruiting in all sports. I mean, you saw the basketball team. They were having a basketball team tailgate, which was great to see. So not only were they attending the game, Coach Schwartz and staff, they were building chemistry within their team by having their guys socialize and attending the game together. And then I'm sure baseball, etc.
But back to the playoff discussion. Right now, we think we are contenders for the conference championship.
Yep.
If this was 2024, suddenly that conversation becomes, guys, we can make the playoffs. If we win the American, we're going to have a chance to make the playoffs. Because that's going to be a real thing starting in 24. One of those Group of 5 champions is going to make the playoffs every single year. So again, I don't think that can be understated enough or overstated enough. I think it's a huge, huge deal for the Group of 5.
No doubt about it. Go ahead, Bubba. I'm sorry.
Back to the task at hand, as far as ODU, some folks had talked about the game times of the upcoming games. Obviously, the Pirates, 4 straight home games to start the year. One of those in the books, and now you have ODU, then Campbell, then Navy. That Navy game is to be announced, as Robert Dedrick pointed out on YouTube. Old Dominion and Campbell are both 6 p.m. kickoffs, ESPN Plus as of right now. Like Kyle mentioned, had we won yesterday, you never know. With Old Dominion winning and had the Pirates knocked off 13th ranked NC State, you never know. Somebody might ESPNU, or they may make a switch there and put that game on television. But it is an ESPN Plus broadcast, as I think we have 3 or 4 out of our 12 games. So we have BYU and then Cincinnati. Those are both ESPN2, and I think that may be it. Maybe 3 out of 12.
Whoa. No, we'll have more on that. We'll have more on linear TV than that. But once we get into conference play, unless it's a weeknight game, they don't announce those games until 10 days out.
Right. I mean, as of right now.
Yes, we'll have many more games on linear television.
As we sit here, on September the 4th, we only have those 3, the one yesterday, and then ESPN2 on those that I mentioned. But like Kyle is saying, that if we play the football that we'll be playing, more are going to be coming in the weeks to come.
UCF Houston, you can guarantee those will be on one of the ESPN family of networks. Cincinnati's a night game, a Friday night game, but you can guarantee those UCF and Houston games, probably that Memphis game, will all be on linear television. The Navy game, Navy lost to Delaware yesterday. You're probably looking at ESPN Plus for that. So we probably won't be back on linear ESPN television maybe for a few weeks, actually. But there will be more to come. If you look at, guys, we could really get on a hot streak here. Old Dominion, Campbell, Navy, South Florida, Tulane, all coming up. You never know. Somebody could upset us, but we will be favored in the next 5 games.
Yep.
Significant favorites.
What about the Memphis game also coming up, Cal?
Yeah, that's coming up. I believe you're right. That is the next one after Tulane and USF.
Yeah.
And Memphis, how good is Mississippi State? We don't know yet, but they dominated Memphis yesterday.
Yeah.
That
Will
could be.
Rogers for Mississippi State, I think he threw for 450 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, and that Mike Leach offense. But what struck me more than that, Bubba, was at halftime Memphis had scored one time. They ended up putting 24 on the board, I believe, but most of those were late scores when the game was put away. So, Mike Leach's teams typically aren't known for their defense. That could have changed. But Memphis, brand new OC there. Their old OC's at Duke now. So I don't know, man. I'm not sure the Tigers going to be that stout this year. So we got a chance to really get on a roll here. If we play up to our potential, we could be red hot. I think I got to count the games up, but we have the possibility to be 5-1, 6-1 when
Yes.
we play UCF. When we play UCF, so
Is it 6-1?
I'd have to count them up, but it's either 5-1
Shell,
or 6-1.
Shell brings up a good point here, guys. Something I meant to point out earlier, but saying, sorry, guys, one last thing that people were saying today on the boards as far as Mason not playing when Holton's shoulder popped out of place. He had to come out for one play anyway, but just by rules and because of being injured. But they popped that shoulder back in, and then Alex Flynn came in rather than Mason Garcia. So that way we did not burn one of Mason's 4 games that he can play without losing. If you play in 5 games, you lose a red shirt. So that was smart on the coaching staff. You had Alex Flynn come in and hand the ball off, and then
Bubba, is that seasonal?
Went right back out there.
I think it's seasonal.
Is that seasonal? Because Garcia's already played in a few games.
Yeah, that's 4 games in a season.
It is 4 games in a season.
You can play up to 4 games in a season, and obviously 2020 didn't count, and then last year he played in 5, so last year did count.
So if he doesn't have more than 4 games, he would still have 3 years of eligibility after Holton.
Yes, if he does not play,
I thought
if he plays in 4 games or less this year, then he'll have 3 years of eligibility.
I thought it was combined. I did not realize that went from year to year to year. So that's smart to not burn his red shirt or not use any of his game time where it was going to be just for a minute to put Garcia in, and to put Flynn in was a good decision.
Because that's what happened a time or two last year. Donnie referenced that in the preseason. Coach Kirkpatrick said that it was a situation last year in one of the games where Holton went down, and then I'm sure the excellent training staff was giving him the best information they could, but they said he had been told there's probably no way, or at least not without missing a few plays, and then you send Mason out for a play or 2, and then Holton's ready to go back in, and well, crap, there's a game.
And not to scare anybody, but clearly it's a non-throwing shoulder that popped out. I saw it when he took a helmet. I thought it was to his forearm when I saw the helmet, but I guess it caused his shoulder to pop out. I remember we were speculating in the group text. Terry Gallagher thought he got the wind knocked out of him. I said, no, I think it's his arm, his non-throwing arm. I thought it was his forearm. I saw him take a helmet, but it turned out it was actually his shoulder.
And speaking of which, something you and I talked about, Kyle, in our group chat yesterday, I thought Keith Mitchell, the refs missed, and I've tried to be nice to them tonight, but they missed that. There was a targeting call they clearly missed there in the second half. It was definitely helmet to helmet. Did you guys, Bubba, did you see that?
Yeah, because you're talking about the one down there right at the goal line where we threw a swing pass to him, and it was toward NC State's sideline, and as soon as it happened, Holton started walking toward it, pointing, and no flag.
I don't know how that's not reviewed. You can review that. Even I don't know if a coach can challenge a targeting. I know other penalties can't be reviewed, but you can review a targeting call even if a flag isn't thrown initially. So it should have been looked at.
Well, that's the thing. Like the enforcement of that penalty, and that penalty is so harsh. The remainder of the game, and
Yeah.
or depending on when it is, and maybe part of the next game, kind of like Rick DeBrew, what happened to him when it happened against SMU, and then he had to miss the first half of App State last year. But
and another thing too, and Shell brings thanks, man. Shell, you've been awesome. We've had an awesome group tonight with this discussion. Where are the officials that are upstairs that say, "Hey guys, you missed one there"? That's what they're there for.
Well, I'm assuming it was ACC officials.
I don't care. ACC, SEC, SEC.
I mean, I don't care either. I'm just pointing out. I'm assuming it was ACC officials.
But
they're not going to help us. Not that American officials have helped us through the years. See, Tulsa 2020.
Conference USA is even worse.
In the play that we're talking about, I believe it was a series. I think on the following play, I believe that was the second down play, and then Holton ended up converting a big third down, found Jalen Johnson over the middle.
Yeah,
but that play. Just my feelings on the targeting rule, I do not think it. I mean, I think under the current rules that who knows if they would have caught it.
It should have been looked at as the point. If you're going to look at
right.
But
I'm just saying that my opinion on it, that I think it should have been a penalty, but not an ejection, because I think unless it's very very blatant, that I think that the penalty is currently too harsh, because just the game's so fast, and some of these it's ridiculous that guys who bust their butts year round and invest so much are ejected instead of just having a 15-yard penalty assessed.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bubba, on that for sure. And Elliot brought up the hit out of bounds, which was totally unbelievable. That call.
Yeah, but you know what? It pissed us off when we scored on that drive. So I'm good with the no call on that one. To me, we used that as motivation, and we ended up scoring on the drive. So I was good with that no call, because I think it pissed us off. But yeah, that was obviously a late hit out of bounds. There's no question.
Yeah, they picked it up and said the contact
started inbounds, and they did not.
Yeah, started inbounds.
It did not.
And ACC officials are and we'll have to, maybe we can get Daryl Hawk Harrison on, because he I know he did a great job, but the ACC for years has taken hits for their officiating, so maybe he can help us out.
See Duke, Miami.
And that's another thing on that one. I mean, maybe he did and I missed it, but I honestly, I was looking at him and going back and watching it on TV, the replay. It was, a little farther, a step or so onto the white than what I had thought on the stadium Jumbotron replay. But at the same time, like, Mike Houston didn't get too fired up over that one. The game's so fast, and there at the sideline when you're coming full speed like that, that's tough.
I was a late hit, dude. I think it was
way out there.
Well, I'm just saying I don't have a problem with it. That's just it's so dang hard to stop. I mean, when you're chasing a guy like Keaton Mitchell,
he wasn't even the initial tackler on the play. The guy who was pushed out of bounds, and it was the secondary tackle.
That was definitely. That was definitely a late hit. There was no excuse for that play.
We ended up scoring on the drive anyway, but no, yeah. I think that was a bad missed call.
Yeah, that was only my thing. But anyway, do you guys? I know we're over an hour and a half, but do you guys have anything before we get out of here? I want to thank our great sponsors. We can do that. Let's see. I hear Kerry King is blazing fast like Deion Johnson.
Yes. He had one catch, Shell, for 12 yards, and B. Pace brought that up earlier, how he liked to see us get the ball to Kerry King some more. He had a catch on the NC State sideline in the first half, I think it was.
And Brandon Forbush is asking, yes, Brandon, the away team gets to pick what's a non-conference. So in other words, it was ACC officials for NC State to try to be fair. I don't know really how, like we said, American officials on that. And Elliot brings up another great point. The first penalty we got yesterday was in the fourth quarter. It was a holding call remember. Great discipline for ECU. Elliot, you're correct on that. We wanted to talk about that, so thank you for bringing that up. I was about to forget that, and just looking at the time. But certainly that was a great thing. It just shows you the progress we've made under the new coach over the last few years. He's worked really hard, the depth, the discipline, the focus. Those guys are going to be ready on Saturday night for sure. Robert's asking about injury. Any injury updates, Bubba, that you know of?
Just one moment, I'd stepped away, but I'm trying to think. I know we had a defensive lineman, Deontay Johnson, I think it was, number 56. He left the game, and did not hear an update on him. And
the post-game press conference, guys, Houston addressed 2 injuries. I can't remember either player's name. He said one of them he didn't know the status of yet. The other one would be back. So just go back and listen to Mike Houston's press conference, and you'll probably get an update further than that. I don't know. Igo might have a practice report tonight that might update that. We probably won't know any more than what Houston said post-game until Tuesday. Maybe tomorrow. Are they doing the press conference tomorrow like normal with the
It's
being
on
Labor
Tuesday.
Day? It's on Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay.
And we also had Bailey Malavik, who was out because he had had a death in the family. His brother had been killed in a car accident. So thoughts and prayers to Bailey Malavik and his family and friends on that horrible situation. So hopefully we'll have Bailey back soon, and another excellent key cog there in the offensive line room. But something else very quickly, and I will talk more about this when we break down ODU. But when you guys were discussing that ODU Virginia Tech game earlier, pointing out, Kyle, you mentioned how they are have a pretty talented quarterback, and then they did, force or have 5 Virginia Tech turnovers that they were the beneficiary of, and then Virginia Tech committed 14 penalties for 100 yards. So Virginia Tech did a lot to hurt themselves, and then ODU's capable as well.
Yeah, I think Virginia Tech's defense is pretty good. I do not think their offense is very good. I didn't like what they were doing, and I don't think they utilized that quarterback. That was Marshall's former starting quarterback, and to me, what he does is go vertical really well, and I didn't see him go downfield enough with him.
Yeah, we had Elliot ask if Garcia will play this year at quarterback. He's going to play. He will not play more than 4 games, is my understanding, unless
Holt goes down,
and that would give us 3 years. So let's just hope and pray. Obviously, we don't want anything to happen to Holton, but Garcia is definitely ready, and that's another thing that's great to see Holton be Holton. Again, that helps out a lot for there. But he does a playbook. He's doing well.
I've never in my life, seen more people worry more about a kid who ain't Garcia. And I love him. He's a Pirate, but he's the greatest player that hadn't done anything yet. I mean, more people worry about Mason Garcia. It's just amazes me that people think he's the greatest quarterback ever. And maybe he will be, but and I'm not knocking the question. It's not him. It's just in general. I see more people worried about Garcia. Oh God, what if Garcia transfers? Well, then we'll get another quarterback. There's plenty of them in the transfer portal every year.
And he didn't. And so guess what? He's
going to get his opportunity next year.
And the big house, baby. And the big house.
Maybe. I'm pretty sure that we will bring in a quarterback from the transfer portal and to compete with Garcia. I hope we do. To me, if we don't, we're stupid.
We've got other guys that compete with Garcia.
I'd bring in somebody from the transfer portal with experience to compete with Garcia, Flynn, and anybody else. To me, you're stupid if you don't. Utilize your tools. Transfer portal is a tool. If there's a quarterback with experience out there that wants to transfer here, take him.
No doubt. All right, Elliot. He said he was not addressing you. So anyway, we're running a little long tonight. Thank you again to. Let's give a shout out again to Kevin Walker from T&K Custom Homes. Kevin's done a fantastic job. I want to give him a shout out for being the title sponsor of the Pirate Playback. And you can call Kevin with any of your needs. He does it all. Look at his work on Facebook. Like I said, he's always building homes there in that Greensboro, Guilford County area. Call him at 336-688-8461 with T&K Custom Homes. Thank you so much, Kevin, for your sponsorship of the Pirate Playback for 2 years in a row. Bubba, I want to pitch it to you for the coming week for our great programming. A lot of great response so far, right, for the first week?
Yeah, received several compliments, on our programming a week ago, expanded programming. We have everything we've had in the past, our 3 weekly shows with the Pirate Preview on Tuesday night. On this Tuesday, we'll be catching up with, I guess you could say, co-color analyst on the Pirates Play Fly Network, and that is Andrew Bays, the All-American punter that played for Coach Logan back in the 90s. Was a teammate of Matt Semenza for a time there. Their careers overlapped, and he will be doing the road games this year, and Kevin Monroe's alongside Jeff Charles for the home games. So look forward to having Andrew on the show on Tuesday to talk about NC State, as well as look ahead to Old Dominion and the rest of the season, as well as his new gig. And then, on Monday night, so tomorrow night, you can enjoy wrapping up your Labor Day by listening to Coach Jeff Connors, former East Carolina strength and conditioning coach, host Absolute Empowerment. He had an excellent 70-minute conversation with Steve Logan, and we'll hear those two former great Pirates talk about some of their 11 years together in Greenville. And they also dove into a lot of other interesting topics that made for an excellent listen. On Wednesday, we'll have Pirate Breakdown with Sutton Young, and then also Sonny and Semenza as Jay Sonhalter, and then also Matt Semenza take a look at week 2 of college football with some of their top games. On Thursday, we'll have the Inside Slant, as we'll be joined by beat writers and play-by-play voices from around the region and nation. On Friday, we'll have a Pirates Life for Me. Last week, it was John Kazaza, the first ever East Carolina quarterback to lead the Pirates to win over NC State. This week, it will be a member of Pirate Nation. I'll keep that as a surprise. And then on Saturday, we'll have the Pulse of Pirate Nation, a brief interview, with a fan or former player of, 5 to 10 minutes in length on game day. And then next Sunday night, we'll take a look back at the Old Dominion game, what will hopefully be the first victory of the season for the Pirates as they get to 1-1.
No doubt about it. And want to thank.
Go ahead, Dave.
We also want to thank another great sponsor, Kyle, and that would be PGX Gloves. And Kyle, you and I both know Mark Minikazi's been a supporter of ours the last few years, and Kyle, take it away.
Yeah, if you need gloves for your kids, if they play football, high school, pee wee, whatever level, he's got your gloves for the football players. If you're a golfer and you want to go out there with some custom gloves and look super cool to all your friends and show off how you got badass gloves, and they're just sitting there with plain white gloves, maybe Kaz can do some Michael Jackson style diamond studded. Back when he wore the one glove, maybe we can get that. Can Kaz do that? That'd be pretty cool. But if you want any custom gloves, go to pgxgloves.com, promo code ECU, save yourself 25%. Go buy yourself a whole bunch of gloves for golf, football, whatever your glove needs are. Maybe you want to moonwalk like Michael Jackson, wear one on one hand.
Hey, in fact, I got one of the gloves in my hand right here. I found right
one of the Michael Jackson gloves.
No, not that, but PGX
okay.
gloves. I don't have a Michael Jackson glove. I've got it right here in my hand. When Bubba gets back to me, there we go. It's right here. In fact, this is one of Alex's gloves. The other one is there on the end table. I'm getting ready. I've been going through all the stuff for packing away for baseball because it's football season, obviously. And here it is. I don't know if you can see it really well, but it's worn out now. I got to get some more. I got to get some football gloves. So that's something. We got the first football game coming up this week, so I'll handle that after the show tonight or tomorrow for sure. But thanks to PGX Gloves for that. And Porky's Backyard Barbecue. Guys, hey, Kyle, brother, You missed it out yesterday. I was thinking about you.
Right.
Let me tell you about we're going to have our tailgate again this coming week. And I want to give a shout out to Mark and Terry. Mark's wife, Betsy, was there. And this is what they gave us. Are you ready, Kyle, for the menu?
Sure.
We had some outstanding hush puppies. we had some wings to die for. I love them. I mean, they were thick, juicy wings. We had, barbecue, and we had pork chops, all to die for. And you guys, I had so much food. I mean, it was amazing. I had so much food. I was eating. It was like Thanksgiving for me yesterday. We had that noon game. I was eating barbecue and all that stuff all the way up until about 8 or 9 o'clock last night. So watching football. And that was one cool thing about the noon game that was so cool is we got home and we watched the games like you guys do. And we were still, I was like feet away from that great food. But thanks to Porky's Backyard Barbecue. In fact, Marcus now and Terry, the two brothers, are fans of our show. And they're very appreciative of all the sponsorship. And they're sponsoring our tailgate. So
where are they located at in Williamston?
They are near the old Walmart. It was a Captain D's. It's right in front of us now. There's Tractor Supply. There's
the Roses and Tractor Supply parking lot in Williamston.
Wendy's.
Yeah, what highway is that?
17.
17, like you're going towards
Windsor. Sorry, 17. Sorry,
like you're going towards Windsor.
Yeah.
So if you know where that is in Martin County. Go get you some barbecue at Porky's, and I heard they do daily specials. They got ribs, I think. So
the ribs are. Let me tell you something. I'm a stickler about ribs, and they have to be just right. And their ribs are off the chain. They also, Kyle and Bubba, I love their barbecue chicken. It's so good. Not to make an infomercial about Porky's Backyard Barbecue, but that barbecue chicken is some of the best I've ever had. And the ribs were very good too. The wings, my son Alexander loved those wings yesterday. He's still been talking about it today, about how good the wings were from Porky's they brought to our tailgate. So tomorrow, and not tomorrow, but on Saturday, the game is at 6 o'clock. We'll be there about between probably 3 o'clock for that tailgate. So we'll be there. And
listeners are welcome to come. You want to tell them where the tailgate is?
Yeah, the tailgate is right. It's right near the practice field. I'm in spot 41. So it's closer. If you think about the practice field, it's closer where the Ward Sports Medicine building. I'm closer to that end of the practice field. So if you're looking for me, it's you'll see us as a blue tent, and we have a white minivan, because I'm a dad. So you can check us out. Right near, you'll see a pink Cadillac not too far from us.
We got to get some identifying logos on our tents and minivans there.
Yeah.
For the sports objectives, so people know where to find the tailgate.
I have the magnets put on. I have the magnets put on.
There you go. Just look for the magnets, and hopefully Kyle from LaGrange will be there before too long. Once I can get some stuff behind me, and who knows, I may show up Saturday before the surgery on Monday, but we'll see. But guys, the LSU Florida State game's on ABC. If you want to watch that, and I think we need to wrap it up.
We'll definitely do it. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time. In fact, we'll be back tomorrow night with Coach Jeff Connors. Thanks for everybody. Appreciate it. Until next time, go Pirates.
You've been watching the Pirate Football Playback on the Sports Objective. Join us next Sunday night on our YouTube channel and Facebook Live as we talk East Carolina football. Follow us on social media at The Sports OBJ on Twitter and TikTok, at The Sports Objective on Instagram. Please like and follow our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. As always, we appreciate you listening to the show. Go Pirates!